This is our discussion for Module 7. This is entitled Integration of Risk Management in the Society. So this module will describe how risk management works in the different areas of the corporate world. Also, this module will allow you to understand how risk management is being valued and implemented in entrepreneurship, organization, and finance. Likewise, this will also introduce some basic concept and information regarding the integration of risk management in the society. These are our learning objectives. Relate how risk management is being practiced in the society. Explain the advantages and benefits of risk management in different areas. And distinguish the importance of risk management in entrepreneurship, organization, and finance. Let's discuss first the risk management in entrepreneurship. So, businesses face many risks. Therefore, risk management should be a central part of any business strategic management. Risk management helps you to identify and address the risks facing your business, and in doing so, increase the likelihood of successfully achieving your business objectives. A risk management process involves methodically identifying the risk surrounding your business activities, assessing the likelihood of an event occurring, understanding how to respond to these events, putting systems in place to deal with the consequences, and monitoring the effectiveness of your risk management approaches and controls. And as a result, the process of risk management improves decision making, planning, and prioritization, helps you allocate capital and resources more efficiently, allows you to anticipate what may go wrong, minimizing the amount of firefighting you have to do, or in a worst case scenario, preventing a disaster or serious financial loss. And it also significantly improves the probability that you will deliver your business plan on time and within the budget. Risk management becomes even more important if your business decides to try something new. For example, launch a new product or enter new markets. Competitors following you into these markets or breakthroughs in technology which make your product redundant to risks are are two risks you may want to consider. And when you're just getting started and attempting to evaluate the risks involved with the particular business you want to launch, it's important to understand that every business venture, regardless of economic climate, market conditions, products, personnel, and capitalization, has risks. Once you assess those risks, you can begin taking steps to reduce them. Start by taking these actions. First, research similar businesses. Look at their locations, advertising, staff requirements, hours they're open, and their equipment. This preliminary analysis of your competition is a gold mine of important information. Next is evaluate current market trends. What seemed like a hot idea over the past few months might have been a fad. Find last year's phone book and call several new businesses. Are they still around? If you live in a small community or want to expand your research, your local telephone company or local library may have phone books from other cities. Next is know your strengths and preferences. Is this type of business a good fit? Does it capitalize on your strengths? To compensate for areas that you have little or no expertise in, can you fill in the gaps either with staff members, partners, or consultants? Next is examine your family budget. How big a financial cushion do you have? In case your financial projections show that you won't be able to draw a paycheck for the first year, what other income can you reasonably expect while you're in the startup phase? It always helps if your spouse or partner has a full time job with health insurance coverage and other benefits through his or her employer. Remember, Remember that you're not in this alone and realize that your family is there for you to share the benefits as well as the risks. To ensure their support, make sure they understand exactly what you're doing and why. Next is know how changes in the economy will affect your business. What would happen to a business in your industry if inflation rose by 2 points? How has your type of business performed in various economic conditions? If the business is a seasonal one, will patrons of your business travel or spend less? And write a business plan. Your business plan will help you shape your business, determine your financing needs, evaluate your competition, and figure out marketing strategies. It enables you to foresee problems and make a plan to avoid them, in short, becoming a valuable management tool in running your business. Once you've launched your business, recognizing the risks in all areas of your business, management, marketing, contracts, personnel, and the particular ramifications of your product or service on customers and the market is the first step in effective risk management. Follow these steps before talking to an insurance representative about the type of coverage you need for your business. Make a list of the risks your businesses face. Evaluate your liabilities from your customer's point of view and chart the customer's path as they come into contact with your shop, across the sidewalk, through the door, under the ceiling fan, up to the counter, and so on. And after identifying the risks inherent to your business, estimate the probability of your financial loss in various situations that could go wrong. Develop a worst case scenario and put a price tag on it. Shop damage, employee injuries, or harm to a customer because of your product or service. Next, determine the most economical way to handle the possible losses, considering the following avenues. Assumption means assuming the risk and the accompanying financial burdens. Sometimes, absorbing a risk is prudent. If you're a one-person graphic design business, no employees are going to be injured on the job, nor are you likely to be sued for personal injury if clients infrequently visit your office. However, if you own the bakery that employs 30 people, you'd best not assume any risk pertaining to employees getting injured on the job, or a customer tossing their cookies because of eating one of yours. Next is avoidance means removing the cause of risks. If a caustic material is making employees hesitant and fearful, replace it with a non-hazardous substance. The cost is small compared to what you'd pay if an accident happened. An organized company safety program that implements suggestions from employees and insurance safety representatives can also help eliminate potentially dangerous situations in your business. Next is loss reduction is the transfer of the risk to another party altogether. When your own delivery service has problems, tardiness, damaged goods, mechanical breakdowns, and employee hassles, consider contracting a delivery service to take all the headaches away. Similar circumstances include contracting for maintenance, electrical, plumbing, carpentry, bookkeeping, landscaping, and security. Such actions are a form of insurance because you have shifted the risk and responsibility to another party for a negotiated fee. However, shifting the risk and responsibility doesn't necessarily shift the liability. When the new landscaping crew improperly installs a sprinkler head causing water damage to the inside of a nearby Jaguar, you can hold the landscaping firm liable. But the man who falls into the cactus plant by the front office and injures himself will hold you liable for planting it there. Know that your potential liabilities are and make sure you're covered. Next, self-insurance entails setting aside a specified amount of money into a reserve fund each year to cover any losses incurred. The owner holds the cash in this reserve fund rather than paying premiums to an insurance company. In practice, this method is risky for small firms that could experience a large loss. If the reserve fund is not large enough to cover that loss, the company will be sunk. A growing business with several geographically diverse units is more suited for self-insurance, as are big non-profit organizations like school systems. These methods can be used to offset some risks a business faces. Some areas of risk, however, require the transfer of that risk through insurance to make sure your business is protected and not overly exposed. Sound insurance planning requires attention on all fronts. The usual plain vanilla insurance packages need to be complemented by additional special coverages relevant to your business. Cover your largest loss exposure first. The lives and health of you and your employees are the most valuable assets your company has. Entrepreneurship generally entails a certain degree of risk taking. As such, entrepreneurs understand that they must be willing to take a risk in pursuit of potential profits. They realize that in order to achieve their strategic plan, some degree of risk taking is necessary. Risk management is often thought of as the mitigation of uncertainty in the market, including aspects such as consumer behavior and the response of competitors. While entrepreneurs should clearly strive to prevent or avoid certain risk, they should also remember that some risk is inevitable, necessary, and when well managed, beneficial in the long run. First time startup leaders and more seasoned entrepreneurs must develop a mindset for risk management. Here are some few suggestions for approaching and reducing unpredictable variables in business. First, understand that risk is opportunity. From the earliest stages of a new business idea, risk and opportunity are inseparably linked. Entrepreneurs can make this connection when comparing their personal goals with possible entry points into the market. Preliminary research will almost always yield insight on both sides, which is why startup leaders need to have an understanding of their industry. Along with identifying opportunities, doing your research can ultimately help to mitigate and manage risk. The entrepreneur who closely observes consumer sentiment, for example, will have a better idea of how to steer clear of costly missteps. The same individual will also have a better frame of reference for what risks come with the territory. Recognizing the many benefits that come from developing an understanding of the demands of the market can make a notable difference for new business owners. On the opposite end of the spectrum, trying to identify opportunities without risk can lead to less than desirable results. Next is trust the process. Not every visionary entrepreneur will have a grasp of risk management from the outset, and that's fine. In fact, one Hale Institute for Economic Research study demonstrated that most aspiring entrepreneurs consider themselves pretty conservative when it comes to taking risks. The paper also points out that entrepreneurs gain more tolerance for risk as they progress in their careers. Fortunately, each decision and change made by a business leader will bring some form of risk, which offers a valuable experience. One entrepreneur might launch his venture while employed elsewhere, as a way to test the waters and slowly make the transition, while other might take a more direct approach. Either way, taking risks, which often means failure at some level, is generally worthwhile. Third is turn risk on its head. Another way to conceptualize risk management is risk selection. Market research will help in determining where and how to incur risk for a business, but on a much more basic level. Entrepreneurs who decide to start their own companies face more risk than those who hope to stay in their current or most recent position. The question then comes down to what holds greater uncertainty: security in an established job or potential success with a startup. Either choice will have its own set of risks, but the major differences lies in the ability of entrepreneurs to call the shots for their companies. However, entrepreneurs must also realize that starting their own companies entails the possibility of failure. Thus, entrepreneurs will have to weigh the risks as they brainstorm possible business model. The risk associated with staying in one position or taking a new direction apply inside companies as well, and perhaps more frequently so. Sometimes, the only way to reach new heights is to make sacrifices, and this can be difficult to face, especially when a business has performed well. Going from a good situation to a better one will always involve risk. So business owners will have to ask themselves whether it's worth it. Next is avoid complacency. Just as one should generally avoid business opportunities that present themselves as risk-free, so too should one continue finding ways to stretch in a company even after achieving success. While this doesn't mean taking on risk for the sake of it, it does mean finding a balance between organic growth and reckless expansion. The organic model may never propel a business forward, while the latter may mean that it does not survive at all. Complacency can also come in the form of optimism. In other words, entrepreneurs entrepreneurs often tend to have a positive outlook on their life and their business ventures in particular. Yet, one's hope that a company is on its way toward sustainable growth and success will only move it so far. Once again, staying informed and conducting market research are crucial to managing and mitigating risk. In the end, startup leaders must strive to achieve their objectives in the face of uncertainty. Risk management is an important process because it empowers a business with the necessary tools so that it can adequately identify and deal with potential risks. Once a risk's been identified, it is then easy to mitigate it. In addition, risk management provides a business with a basis upon which it can undertake sound decision making. For a business, assessment and management of risks is the best way to prepare for eventualities that may come in the way of progress and growth. When a business evaluates its plan for handling potential threats and then develops structures to address them, it improves its odds of becoming a successful entity. In addition, progressive risk management ensures risk of a high priority dealt with as aggressively as possible. Moreover, the management will have the necessary information that they can cause to make informed decisions and ensure that the business remains profitable. No business is short on challenges on its quest to further its growth and development, particularly in its early stages. You could in fact argue that there are two sides to a ledger that businesses exist upon. On one sits the small and early stage business with the odds of long-term survival sets against them, and on the other sit big established companies with seemingly every advantage to perpetuate the existence. To navigate those long odds, the startup or small business has to navigate carefully through um, through treacherous waters, spotting and steering clear of dangers as they present themselves. Managing the risk that come with any business is not something that anyone particularly enjoys. We'd rather be rid of them entirely, free to focus of all our energies on more productive efforts rather than preventive. But risk insists itself upon us regardless of our desires. And dealing with it becomes another of the less than pleasant tasks asked of us as entrepreneurs. So, what is required in a responsible handling of the risks that imperil your company's future? Next is identify. Any attempt to bring risk under control requires knowing what those risks are. Finding and identifying those risks requires a thorough consideration of all aspects of your business. Some risks are easily identified, both in terms of the physical actions and tasks required of your job and or of the nature of the work you do as it rests against security. It's the risk that remain unseen unless search for that can pose the greatest threat if left uncovered. In an effort to protect your company's prospects, it's crucial to be both honest and thorough in identifying all potential risks. Simply not thinking about them won't make them go away. Next is assess. Once you have identified the risk presented, you have to assess the nature and severity of each risk. How likely is each to happen? And what would be the potential impact of such an occurrence? Here again, honesty is required. The tasks is assessment, not assignment. And grading a risk low isn't going to change the nature of it to something less than it is simply by giving it a lesser score. Take all measures into account in noting a risk. Frequency and repetition add to a potential risk, and severity can range from a basic harm to catastrophe, depending on the nature of your work. Next is control, not included in the PowerPoint. Next is control. You've assessed the various risks extant at your work. Now comes the time to try and control and mitigate those risks. Some risks are easy to all but eliminate. If there's a set of actions wholly unnecessary to your work that present a risk, simply forbid employees from those behaviors. Likewise, some tasking has safer alternatives to achieve the same means, and those safe alternatives should be insisted upon by you and your management teams. Other instances of risks are not so easily avoided, but steps can be taken to lessen the risk and the potential harm that might be caused. While risk might still exist, you are at least aware of them and have done what you can do to lessen them. Next is monitor. Vigilance is the watchword of safety, and consistent monitoring is required to maintain the standards put in place. Everyone is guilty of getting a bit lax and sloppy in the absence of pressure or reminders to follow assigned practices to the letter, and the lack of incidents that highlight risks serve to breed complacency. Timely reminders of what best practices are for safety and security and risk management might seem tedious for all involved, and without a guarantee that the message will stick with any in the audience, particularly those afflicted with said complacency. But you have to make the effort to continually hammer those points home. And if education won't work, taking disciplinary measures might be required to repeat repeat offenders. No one enjoys being the taskmaster doling out punishment, but establishing and maintaining standards requires employees to know that someone is there upholding the rules. The nature of risk is such that none of what you fear might happen ever comes to pass, or that things entirely unforeseen might beset you. Like any sort of plan, a strategy of risk management can only do so much before you reach the outer limits of things within your ability to control. Faced with the terrifying potential of the unknown, it's tempting to throw your hands up and consign your fate to higher powers. But business is ultimately about what we can do. Taking what control we can and managing the risk to the best of our ability is what we owe ourselves in our effort to build a lasting company. Next discussion is the risk management in the organization. Risk management is the process of identifying, assessing, and controlling threats to an organization's capital and earnings. These threats or risks could stem from a wide variety of sources, including including financial uncertainty, legal liabilities, strategic management errors, accidents, and natural disasters. IT security threats and data related risks and the risk management strategies to alleviate them have become a top priority for digitized companies. As a result, a risk management plan increasingly includes companies' processes for identifying and controlling threats to its digital assets, including proprietary corporate data, a customer's personally identifiable information, and intellectual property. Every business and organization faces the risk of unexpected, harmful events that can cost the company money or cause it to permanently close. Risk management allows organizations to attempt to prepare for the unexpected by minimizing risk and extra costs before they happen. So what's the importance of this? By implementing a risk management plan and considering the various potential risks or events before they occur, an organization can save money and protect their future. This is because a robust risk management plan will help a company establish procedures to avoid potential threats, minimize their impact should they occur, and cope with the results. This ability to understand and control risk enables organizations to be more confident in their business decisions. Furthermore, strong corporate governance principles that focus specifically on risk management can help a company reach their goals. Other important benefits of risk management include it creates a safe and secure work environment for all staff and customers. It increases the stability of business operations while also decreasing legal liability. It provides protection from events that are detrimental to both the company and the environment. It protects all involved people and assets from potential harm, and it helps establish the organization's insurance needs in order to save on unnecessary premiums. The importance of combining risk management with patient safety has also been revealed. In most hospitals and organizations, the risk management and patient safety departments are separated. They incorporate different leadership goals and scope. However, some hospitals are recognizing that the ability to provide safe, high quality patient care is necessary to the protection of financial assets and as a result should be incorporated with risk managers. So risk managers know the purpose of their role and the value they bring to any organization. However, other employees may not understand what the risk department does or the widespread benefits of their strategy and actions. In many cases, they might be unable to accurately define risk management. This creates a problem. It's harder for risk managers to get the buy-in to implement mitigation procedures when risk management isn't common knowledge. So, to illustrate the importance of risks, here are the 10 reasons all employees should care about risk management. First is everyone has to manage risk. Everyone in the organization face risks. As most business people know well, sometimes risk is inevitable in order to achieve success. In spite of this, risk management is sometimes seen as the department of no, those who deny any project plan that seems to have any potential risk. This is the opposite of the truth. The purpose of risk management is not to eliminate all risks. It is to minimize the potential negative consequence of risks. By working with risk managers, employees can make smart risk decisions to improve the chance of reward. Next is risk management makes jobs safer. Health and safety are critical parts of a risk manager's role. They actively seek out problems areas in the organization and look to address them. They use data analysis to identify loss and injury trends and implement strategies to prevent them from reoccurring. This clearly benefits employees in physical work environments such as construction, but can also help office employees and those in similar positions through methods such as ergonomics. A safer workplace is better for everyone and is dramatically impacted by risk management. Next is risk management enables project success. No matter the department, risk managers can help employees succeed with their projects. Just as they assess risks and develop strategies to maximize organizational success, they can do the same for individual projects. Employees can reduce the likelihood and severity of potential project risks by identifying them early. If something does go wrong, there will already be an action plan in place to handle it. This helps employees prepare for the unexpected and maximize project outcomes. Next is risk management reduces unexpected events. Most people don't like surprises, especially when it has an organizational impact. A risk management goal is to map out all potential risks and then work to prevent them or best manage them. It's impossible to think of every possible risk scenario and address them all. But a risk manager makes unpleasant surprises less likely and severe. Risk manager or the risk management department should be the first place an employee turns to when it seems like something serious could go wrong. Here's a good chance a plan is already in place for it. Number 5, risk management saves time and effort. Employees at all levels spend time submitting data into the risk management department when incidents occur. These tasks are often completed in disjointed and inefficient ways. By streamlining these tasks, the risk department is able to alleviate the burden of tedious data submission from employees, allowing them to direct time and energy towards their true roles. With a solid process in place, it is easy for employees to buy into high ROI risk management initiatives and facilitate risk managers' role and reap the benefits of a formal risk management program. Next is risk management um, improves communication. Okay, so horizontal and vertical communication are essential for organization and employee well-being. They promote understanding of internal and external issues and help everyone work together effectively. While many employees know this, it can be difficult to put into practice if some parties don't understand the impact it can have. Risk managers can help. They aid horizontal communication by providing a centralized touchpoint for all risk data and providing reports and analysis. Risk managers promote vertical communication by setting expectations and relating data to organizational goals. Each additional method of communication benefits employees. Next is risk management prevents reputational issues. Many risks involve a reputation factor. Something happens that causes the public to negatively view the organization. Reputational issues could impact individual employees as well, even if they weren't actually involved. A formal risk department greatly decreases the likelihood of this fallout. When an incident inevitably occurs, a formal risk management program and processes will quickly contain the event and lower the chance of escalation and widespread negative consequences. Number 9, risk management benefits culture. A strong risk management culture is better for all parties: frontline employees, risk managers, executives, and decision makers. It creates a mindset of prevention and safety that permits the organization and influence the actions of employees. It sets expectations of performance and sends a positive image to the public. And last, risk management guides decision making. Decision making is a challenging process, especially when making significant choices that will have a large impact on future success. Risk management data and analytics can guide employees in making wise strategic decisions that will help meet and exceed company objectives. They can also advise on the strengths and weaknesses of a decision alternative and provide recommendations on what risks to pursue and which to avoid. The risk department is an excellent source of guidance for employees in all areas. And last topic for this module is the risk management in finance. In the financial world, risk management is the process of identification, analysis, and acceptance or mitigation of uncertainty in investment decisions. Essentially, risk management occurs when an investor or fund manager analyzes and attempts to quantify the potential for losses in an investment, such as moral hazard, and takes the appropriate action or inaction given the fund's investment objectives and risk tolerance. So let's discuss what is financial risk management. Financial risk management is the process of understanding and managing the financial risks that your business might be facing either now or in the future. It's not about eliminating risks, since few businesses can wrap themselves in cotton wool. Rather, it's about drawing a line in the sand. The idea is to understand what risks you're willing to take and what risks you'd rather avoid, and how you're going to develop a strategy based on your risk appetite. The key to any financial risk management strategy is to plan the plan of action. These are the practices, procedures, and policies your business will use to ensure it doesn't take on more risk than it is prepared for. In other words, the plan will make it clear to staff what they can and cannot do, what decisions need escalating, and who has overall responsibility for any risk that might arise. So, how do you implement financial risk control? Organizations manage their financial risk in different ways. This process depends on what the business does, what market it operates in, and the level of risk it is prepared to accept. In this sense, it's up to the business owner and directors of the company to identify and assess the risk and describe how the company is going to manage them. Some of the stages in the financial risk management process are identifying the exposures. Risk management starts by identifying the financial risks and their sources or causes. A good place to start is with the company's balance sheet. This provides a snapshot of the debt, liquidity, foreign exchange exposure, interest rate risk, and commodity price vulnerability the company is facing. You should also examine the income statement and the cash flow statement to see how income and cash flows fluctuate over time and the impact this has on the organization's risk profile. Questions to ask here include: what are the main sources of revenue of the business? Which customers does the company extend credit to? What are the credit terms for those customers? What type of debt does the company have, short term or long term? What would happen if interest rates were to rise? Next is quantifying the exposure. The second step is to quantify or put a numerical value on the risks you've identified. Of course, risk is uncertain, and putting a number on risk exposure will never be exact. Analysts tend to use statistical models such as the standard deviation and regression method to measure a company's exposure to various risk factors. These tools measure the amount by which your data points differ from the average of mean. For small businesses, a computer software like Excel can help you to run some straightforward analysis in an efficient and accurate way. The general rule is the greater the standard deviation, the greater risk associated with the data point or cash flow you're quantifying. Next is making a hedging decision. After you've analyzed the sources of risk, you must decide how will you act on this information. Can you live with the risk exposure? Do you need to mitigate it or hedge against it in some way? This decision is based on multiple factors such as the goals of the company, its business environment, its appetite for risk, and whether the cost of mitigation justifies the reduction in risks. Generally, you might consider the following action steps: reducing cash flow volatility, fixing interest rate on loans so you have more certainty in your financing costs, managing operating costs, managing your payment terms, putting rigorous billing and credit control procedures in place, saying farewell to customers who regularly abuse your credit terms, understanding your commodity price exposure, that is, your susceptibility to variations in the price of raw materials. If you work in the haulage industry, for example, a rise in oil prices can increase costs and reduce profits. Next, making sure the right people are given the right jobs with the right degree of supervision to reduce the risk of fraud. And last, performing diligence on projects, for example, considering the uncertainties associated with a partnership or joint venture. Next and last, who manages financial risk? In a small business, the business owner and senior managers are responsible for risk management. It's only when the business grows to include multiple departments and activities that you may wish to bring in a dedicated financial risk manager to manage risk and make recommendations for action on behalf of the company. The Global Association of Risk Professionals is recognized globally as the premier accreditation for financial risk management professionals. To receive the FRM certification, candidates must have 2 years work experience and pass a rigorous exam risk on the subject of market risk, credit risk, operational risk, and investment management. Details are available on the GARP website. So this ends the discussion on Module 7. If you have any questions, feel free to send a message in our Teams or in our group chat. Thank you.